Hello there, how are you doing? Today we're having a look at the XTU S3 Pro action camera. This was sent to me for the purpose of reviewing it, and I will give you my honest opinions of this, and I'll show you some footage in comparison with the two other cameras that I tend to use, which is a GoPro and a DJI Osmo, and I use the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So this is a more modern camera than the Hero 7 Black, but is it as good? So let's have a look and we'll have a look and see. What I will say is all the footage for this is I work in 1080p at the moment because that's what my computer system can handle best. So I haven't tested this out in 4K, so I can't tell you whether this is true 4K or not because I'm not sure myself. So this is the box it comes in, and this is the camera. Obviously I've already got it out of the housing and so on because I've tested it out. Now what did worry me when I first saw this was I thought, oh no, it's got one of those housings in it, it means the camera's not waterproof. It actually is. I've had this underwater without any housing on. I'm going to do another dunk test because there's loads of little fish and underwater cabbages here. Waterproof to 5 meters without the external housing, and up to 40 meters with the housing, so I thought that was a good thing. Let's have a look in here. So you do get the housing, standard action camera housing. So there's a customer service card and quite a good instruction manual, really, quite comprehensive, very good. In here you've got various leads and pads and straps and so on, and including a handlebar mount. This is one of the satisfying things about this camera, is when you open up the box you realise there's an absolute plethora of goodies and mounts and so on, which is really handy. There's a strap, there's a remote control for this, so you can remote control it through a wrist strap, control it on and off. I've not messed about with that because I tend not to use those kind of things, but it's a nice to have if that's the kind of thing you're looking for. And as I say, an absolute collection of goodies. There is an external microphone too, so you can actually attach an additional microphone to this through the USB port. Micro USB, I hasten to add, not a USB-C. Tut tut. There is also this nice little wind muff that comes with it that does fit around the camera quite nicely. How effective that will be I don't know. It's not as thick sponge as my GoPro one, the one I use when I'm doing my kayaking videos, but ultimately something is better than nothing when it comes to reducing the wind. It does come with this nice little silicone lens cap. You've got a front facing screen, which is a nice feature. Lens at the front. On the top you've got your mode button and your record button, and then on the side you've got on off. Let's turn it on, press and hold. Yeah, it does do that annoying little thing where it does the little jingle. It's not too quick to open up, but it's not too bad either. Right, okay, so let's have a quick look through what you've got on here. If you press and hold the mode button, it goes to the front facing screen. Press and hold it again, and it goes to the back screen. Now the mode button is, I actually quite like this screen. So this is a touch screen, however you press and hold the mode button and you get all your video settings. So it says video here and then photo. You've got normal video, time-lapse video, slow motion, quick stories for things like Insta and Reels and so on, underwater, car looping, and then video to photo. And then on photo, normal, large photo, timing photo, burst photo, long exposure and raw photo. So you can take raw with this apparently. Let's go into the settings. You've got Wi-Fi settings, auto dormant. There's all the usual stuff, to be honest with you. Voice volume, sub to screen, inversion mode so it flips upside down. I've been using this with the stamp on purely because I wanted to be able to differentiate the footage for the review. Keytones you can turn off, caps tone, you can turn all the tones off, you can turn the power grid off, you know, the square grid on the front. I actually quite like it, so I've got that on. Date and time, you can set that quite easily. Everything's actually really easy to control actually from the back and from the settings, and I do really like that. And the touch screen is quite responsive. It's pretty good in that respect. When I first took this out on a kayak, I did a sea kayaking trip, and I used this and the GoPro at the same time with a view to synchronising the footage together, and it was dreadful. Absolutely beautiful out here. So as I say, the tide is still pulling in. I see, now that's a bit weird because, I'll show you, oh, this is just lovely today. The audio and the visual didn't synchronise on here. After about 10 seconds the audio visual synchronisation was way out. However, I got in touch with them and they sent me a firmware update, and that seems to have fixed the problem. What I have noticed with this is there does seem to be a bit of a red tinge in the footage. I'm not quite sure why that is. If we go into the video settings, so as I say, I've got this set on 1080p and 30 frames a second. It does have a super view, 60 frames a second, 120, and then you can go up to 140p, 2.5K, 4K, 30 frames a second and 4K super view. So it's not bad, it's got quite a few settings involved. It records in 10-minute segments, that's the maximum. Yeah, I kind of like them to do a bit longer than that, but it is what it is. Audio on. Now, it does have image stabilisation. So we've got normal, super and gyro data. I'm not quite sure what gyro data is. I've had this set on super. I don't think it's the best, but I think the firmware update did do some, did improve that. You can then change all the video settings too, which is really nice. It's a really nice feature. Alright, so let's have a quick look at some of the footage and I'll let you know what my thoughts are. Okay, I'm just doing a walking test with the DJI Osmo and the XTU side by side, just to see what they're like for image stabilisation. If I go running with them, what are they like? Just run up to this gate, turn the cameras around so that they're back on me, and then I'm just going to walk back and then run back and see what they're like for image stabilisation. We'll have a look at this footage when we get back. Okay, we'll just compare a bit of walking, talking footage. And this is with the DJI Osmo. So what's the stabilisation like? So let's flip over to the XTU. Then the DJI Osmo. What's the image quality like in comparison? And then we'll just walk back with the camera on me. What's the quality like? Is it keeping me stable? Let's have a look, shall we? And what I'm also recording this footage on is a GoPro Hero 7 Black. So it's an old model, and the XTU is the newer model. And so what I'll do is I'll take some footage of various shots and I'll try to capture roughly the same shot with both cameras, just so we've got an idea, the comparison of what they're actually like together. So this is the sound for the XTU, this is the sound for the GoPro, this is the sound for the XTU, paddling sound on the XTU, paddling sound on the GoPro, right, okay, so let's move the cameras around. So we'll have a look from the front of the boat first. The XTU is on the left hand side of the boat, the GoPro is on the right hand side of the boat, which is why the views are slightly different. Let's have a look to the right hand side of the boat. We'll have a look to the left hand side of the boat. Let's have a look, see what it's like capturing the paddling. Okay, I think that'll do for the boat footage. The reason I'm testing it out in one of my boats is because this is one of those things that I do the most. So if it doesn't do gentle stuff like this, it's not really any good to me. What I haven't shown you yet is where the access ports are. So on here, these are a little bit fiddly to get into. But under there you've got a HDMI and then a micro USB. And it does have a waterproof seal on the back there of the door. And then in here, this is where your memory card is. Now this one I find a real pig to actually open. There we go. You've got to get your nails in. That's the battery, and the SD card just slots into there. And again, it does have a waterproof cover here. This is another nice feature that I really like. I like the fact that it's got a 1/4 inch screw thread, so you can actually just screw it directly onto a tripod. Really nice, like that. I think this has a lot of good features. Not quite so sure about the quality of the image. I don't think it's as good as, say, even the GoPro, which is the older camera. But it does have a lot of good features. Would I use this? Well, do you know what? I think I will end up using it as a B-roll camera for taking some alternative footage shots when I'm doing things. I think it does have, for me it has a function. Would I want it as my main camera? If I'd bought this as a first action camera, I think I'd be okay with that. I mean, I did buy some budget action cameras before I moved up to the GoPro and the DJI, and I had an AKASO, I can't remember the model number, and it had a lot of issues. It wasn't brilliant. And then when I got the GoPro and the DJI, they were different again. This is better than the AKASO. It does take better quality footage, and as I say, it is more robust and it is waterproof in its own right. So I think it does have a function for me, and if I bought it as a first camera, yeah, I'd probably be quite okay with that. And that's where I think this sits. If you want to do better quality footage, you need a DJI or a GoPro. But as a starter outer, I think this is quite good value. That's all for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this, if you've got one, how do you find it, and so on. And if you like this video, you know what to do, the whole thumbs up routine, and smash the subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more videos. And as I say, let me know what you think of this camera. It is smart looking. Alright, thank you very much for watching. You take care of yourself. Cheerio.